Hello everyone, welcome back. Thank you so much for joining me. So what I'm doing today, I don't know why I do that because you can see by the title, but I am gonna look through some of your unpopular, they're pretty popular, opinions about influencers and the influencer industry, and just kind of talk about it from now being an influencer, the inside kind of perspective. So I thought I'd do it in a full face of makeup. I thought I'd go hardcore influencer on you today. Let's just talk about it. So it's going to be my opinion. I may agree, I may disagree with some things you say, but I try and be fair, and I do understand a lot of people's opinions and why they may think that. We'll get into it. But anyway, if this is your first time here on my channel, my name's Robert. Thank you so much for joining me. I'm a professional makeup artist here on YouTube and also in real life, and it's my goal to help you become a pro yourself or just someone who's really good at makeup. So if that sounds like something you're interested in, then please do consider subscribing. Okay, let's get into it. Let's just start. I screenshot a lot of these opinions, so there may be a little bit everywhere, but I'll try and kind of like keep it all together. Let's just get hardcore into it. So our first opinion: people want to be in the industry, but also hate on the industry at the same time. Now listen, let me just tell you something about before I became an influencer. I hated the industry. I really didn't like it because before doing this, I mean, I say it at the beginning of every single video, I was a professional makeup artist. So I was doing makeup, before like Instagram was invented, all this kind of stuff in YouTube. And when it came along and people started to do all these videos, I was like, that is so weird. And as I started to see people put out all this information, and as my clients slowly started to come to me with misinformation that they saw online, I was like, I hate it. I hate this industry. It's ruining the makeup industry. And I will get, again, a little bit more into that later. People asked me to contour their nose with forks, do their brows like this because they saw this online, did this online, saw Kim Kardashian doing this. And I was like, it doesn't work for everyone. That's not how makeup works. So I did start to get this hate for the industry, but at the same time, I was like, I could do my own content and do it the way that I see fit, if that makes sense. Create my own content. And if people wanted to do it my way, they could. If people wanted to do it the influencer way, they could also do that. So what inspired me personally to become part of that industry was my hate for the industry. But then I also do think it's a good industry because never before have we been so accessible. Have we had people who are so accessible that were almost like celebrity-like, or had such a, and I mean that in terms of their audience and their reach of people. This lash is stuck to my bottom lash. And so now we have so many people that can use their platform for good reasons and also use their platform for bad reasons. But I do think a lot of people hate on, again, we'll get into this later, but I do think a lot of people hate on influencers, but also watch influencers at the same time. It's a love-hate relationship, and I kind of understand it and I kind of don't. Okay, thinking their jobs take more work and are more difficult than people who work a 9 to 5 every day. Listen, yes, I agree. And here's why. Because I've worked in retail. I've been a server in a restaurant as well. When I took a year out of doing makeup, and I moved to Florida, and I was a server in a restaurant. One of the hardest jobs I've ever done in my life, by the way. I did freelance makeup in the salon, and then I did makeup. And they were tough jobs. They were, one, physically exhausting, emotionally exhausting. Call time, if I was doing makeup, a call time could be 4 a.m, working till 10 p.m. the same day. Working in a restaurant, for example, if I was doing a full day shift, it'll be right to the morning, right to evening, carrying shit, going backwards and forwards, arguing with the chef. Oh, it was just draining, exhausting. I can sit here. Here's the thing. A job becomes a job no matter what job it is. You can find your dream job, and at the end of the day, it becomes work. I don't want to go to work today. I don't want to do work today. I don't feel like working today. It all happens all the time. Okay. This is so difficult to describe because I work a lot doing this. I work a lot. Is the work difficult? No. Is it tiring? Yes. Because I work 7 days a week pretty much from the morning to the evening. Is it No, tiring isn't the right word. can it be boring sometimes? That's what I'm gonna say. Yeah, it can be fucking boring. It can be really like, oh, I'm editing a video again, I'm doing this. And I suppose, okay, let's do this. Let's weigh the negatives and the positives. The negatives with being an influencer is, for me, I don't get to work with a team of people like I used to. I don't get to work with new people every day, new clients every day. And I miss that. I do miss that a lot. A lot of people have access to you directly through your messages, through comments. They can say whatever they like about you online in a very public space, which can be quite nerve-wracking and quite emotionally exhausting. You often read a hate comment 5 times a day, maybe once if you're lucky, or not at all if you just decide not to go on social media. And that can be quite emotionally demanding, but I feel like you have to expect that. You expect that. Here's the deal though. Is it one of the easiest jobs I've had? Absolutely. Am I very lucky to be in a position where I can sit here and just talk to a camera? 100%, and I wouldn't trade it for anything else. So is it more difficult than a 9-to-5 job? Absolutely not. 100% not. Does a lot of hard work go into it? Yes. But that hard work is off your back. And it's so difficult because people put a lot of time into it. That's the thing. People put a lot of time and effort. A lot of thought goes into it. A lot of creativity goes into it. But have I ever felt exhausted? No. Have I felt like creatively exhausted? Yeah, a little bit, because there's only so many ideas you can come up with. Can I compare it to dealing with customers, being in a customer service-based job? Can I compare it to working in a team backstage at Fashion Week on a shoot? No, because it's not as taxing. Oh, God. Here's what I'm trying to say. For me personally, this is my experience. I work a lot doing this, a lot of time, a lot of hours. Is it difficult? For me personally, no, it's not. And that's not in a way like, oh, I'm so good at this. It's in a way that like I don't make it difficult for myself, because I talk to my subscribers. I know what they like. I know what they want to see. And that makes it easy. You will make it easy for me to have this job. You make it possible for me to have this job. And all I have to do is listen to you, you know? So it's not that difficult. Whereas in retail, for example, you have your manager, you have your area managers, you have your customers who can be vile. I don't think this is difficult in a 9-to-5. Let's say that it's not. Everyone has a price at which they'll compromise their ethics, and that's okay. We all do it in regular jobs. So here's how I feel about this. I do agree with you, because I remember I worked for Mac, not for much longer, but I worked for Mac when they started, the whole animal testing thing came in, where they started selling in China, whatever it was, and they didn't do that before. So it became a little bit like, oh, but at the time I needed a job. I lived in London. I was working mostly for free when it came to freelance makeup, because I was trying to get my name out there. So I couldn't just quit my job at Mac. And Mac at the time, if you told someone you worked at Mac, they were like, oh my God, a makeup artist, you know, it was one of the best places to work for makeup. And I was working in the pro store. I was part of a pro team. So I really didn't want to give that all up, because I wouldn't be able to survive if I did. So yes, I see exactly what you mean by that. But here's the deal when it comes to influencers. We can decide who we work with. We can decide who we align ourselves with. And we've mentioned this, myself and my brother, if you've ever listened to our podcast, I'll put it here, it's called the Double Cleanse Podcast. And we talk very openly about the influencer industry, how it works, how advertising works, sponsorships, everything like this. And we have guests on there. So go ahead and check it out. But you can decide. If we think of brands now as if they have personalities, you know, a brand could be a physical person. If that brand was a person and what they stand for, what kind of imagery they show, would you align yourself with that person? Would you be friends with that person? So I feel like as an influencer, you can very much choose the brands you work. I don't feel like you can. That's how it works. You can choose who you work with. But then it's difficult as well. How much do brands let on about themselves as a person or themselves as a brand? Yes, they can appear to be woke and all this kind of stuff, but are they really? So yes, but if a brand came to me, I have refused to work with brands because of that reason, because I don't see myself working with them, despite money, here's the deal. And let's be really open about money for a second. And we can, I think there's one about money later on. When I reached when I reached 50,000 subscribers on YouTube and my videos were getting 70 to 100,000 views, I was able to quit work and do YouTube full time. So if we think about how many subscribers people have and how many views that video gets, you can afford to say no to a brand. You can afford to do that because if a brand is offering you so much money, and again, everyone's situation is difficult, but if you are a YouTuber, you know how AdSense works. You know how you can look at someone's subscribers and their views and think about how much money and roughly know how much money they're getting paid from that. It's not just a regular job. It is you very much have a lot of power in that job over what you do. I could not have a sponsorship for 2 months and be absolutely fine with my income. I don't need to have a sponsorship. Is it nice to share products that you like with your subscribers? Yes. Is it nice to have a relationship with a brand that you really like? Yes. But do you need it? No. So anybody that has a decent following and decent views, accepting shady sponsorships, I don't think is. You can control it. They can control it. Yeah. It's made working in the makeup industry 10 times harder. Now, so I have a lot of friends who still work in the makeup industry. I know a lot of people that work in the makeup industry because it's where I came from before. And by makeup industry, I don't mean social media. Completely different. I'm talking editorial. I'm talking Fashion Week. I'm talking people with private clients who, have a good clientele. I'm talking the industry that was around before social media. Now, social media has done this thing to makeup artistry, the makeup industry, when people are judging, people are judging hiring because of somebody's social media following. If you hire people, if you are in charge of recruitment, if you are a director of a shoot, if you are something and you're looking at somebody's work, to a makeup artist's work to hire for a job, please don't base it on social media following. The makeup industry predates the social media industry by years. Years and years and years and years. Don't get those two mixed up. Don't get those two. They aren't the same thing, in my opinion. The makeup I do on here and the makeup a lot of people present online isn't their editorial work. It isn't, you wouldn't find, someone getting a job for like Vogue and being like, let's do a cut crease. It doesn't happen. So I'm begging you, please don't get those two mixed up. I still have the same skills, the same creativity, and the same set of ideas that I had at 0 subscribers to now when I have 800,000. Still the same person, still the same set of skills, still the same knowledge. So now looking at that, would you hire me because I have more followers compared to before? And also, it's not like when you hire for someone for a job, you don't share everything on social media to advertise that job. You are being paid. You're being paid to work on an advertisement. You know what I mean? It's very disappointing. It's very heartbreaking, really. That's people's followers depend on whether or not they get good work. Because there are some incredible, amazing makeup artists who don't have a huge following, but have they done the best editorial work ever and worked for the biggest clients and companies? 100%. Have you ever heard of them? Probably not. But they're incredible and could wipe the floor clean with any influencers when it comes to makeup. So don't base it on that. People have this idea of a makeup artist in their head now, that they sit in front of a camera and they all do celebrity clients and they all do this and they all do, that's not what a makeup artist is to me. It's a kind of makeup artist, but it's not the makeup artist that I remember. It's not the kind of makeup artist that, it's different. It's different. As soon as I see #ad, I'm out. Need unbiased information. I do understand where you come from, and I think it really depends on the influencer. For example, I would never do an advert if I didn't use the product before or get at least a chance to try the product before. Brands have sent me products to try in hopes of a sponsorship, and I've said no because I don't like the product or I don't like their brand. So it really does depend on the person. But I do get where you're coming from. But I do hope that there are people out there that are talking about a product because they genuinely like it and want to share it with you, not just because they're trying to get an ad in. Political opinions should have no place in makeup. Let's look at this from two angles, right? So let's talk about editorial, for example, what you see in magazines. High fashion magazines, but a lot of the time there's a story and a concept behind a shoe, and there may always be a political statement behind it. So there's that. There always kind of has been, you know. When it comes to influencing, let's talk about that, because do political opinions should have no place in makeup? This is okay. So I disagree, because you can very much, here's the first thing, you can choose who you follow and who you don't. So if you don't like their political opinions, you don't follow them. Just like how you vote for your president or prime minister, you don't vote for them. So don't follow them, you know? Here's why, because influence, it goes two ways. And it depends on where you stand yourself as well politically. You can see someone's political opinions as doing harm, or you can see someone sharing their political opinions as good, depending on who you support, right? Say, for example, I support a certain president, right? And everyone's like, oh, and I talk about them all the time, unfollow me. There's loads of content. I don't, by the way, but there's loads of content for you to absorb. If I'm not that person, like we do with brands, don't align yourself with me. This is so difficult to talk about without getting anyone angry. But here's where it gets twisted, right? Let's not confuse political opinions and opinions on human rights or social issues. Let me tell you, when I post things on my Instagram, for example, that are basically supporting human rights and everyone's freedoms and all this kind of stuff, people are like, I don't want to see politics from you. I don't want to see this. I want to see just makeup from you. Well, listen, I have a platform of people that I think it's important to share human rights with. Am I going to tell you to vote for a certain political party? No. Would I voice my opinion about a certain political party? Yes. If you don't like it, unfollow. It's so easy. You get to choose, like you do with your vote, you get to choose who you subscribe to. You don't like someone's opinion, you don't want them to grow and share that opinion, don't support them. Let's take, for example, recently, Jackie Aina and Manny MUA had an incredible opportunity to speak to the President of the United States. Whoever that is, they spoke to the President of the United States. Did we ever think before that the beauty industry, first of all, a guy wearing a full face of makeup, but these things are becoming so popular and such a big deal that why not? But that opportunity, it shows how much YouTube has as an influence. So when we're talking about influencing, it shows how much influence is there, that people in, I don't know how it works, in the White House, whatever, was like, let's get some beauty YouTubers to talk about it. Let's get some beauty gurus to talk about it. That's a big deal. And I think it's a good opportunity. So choose who you support. If they talk about politics and you don't like it, unfollow them. There are millions of creators, so pick and choose. I don't need to know every inch of an influencer's life, home, tour, family, etc. We like content. You don't need to try to impress us or feel like you have to be an open book. Yeah, I do agree. I do find it weird when people ask to see... So for example, me and my brother on our joint channel, we just did tours of our filming rooms and our offices. These aren't our permanent homes, so I kind of feel okay doing that. But then there was a comment, and no hate if this was your comment, it was a little bit weird. I would love to see your mum's house next. I don't think you need to be an open book, but I do think it's a little bit strange when people ask things like that. I would love to see your legs. I would love to see your feet. That's a whole different other thing. It is a little bit strange because some things are very personal to you and some things can be potentially dangerous to put online. Like if I was to film the outside of my house and be like, this is my address, I might have, a horse's head turn up on the front of my drive, So yeah, I don't think there's that. But then also it's nice, it is quite nice to have a relationship with people, and that relationship can go as much as I feel is necessary to let you in on. Yeah, it comes to showing off as well. I don't want to show things off because it's a little bit, yeah, I do know what you mean. If you don't credit a certain style of makeup, it's stealing/copying a look. Yeah, here's the deal, right? Crediting has gone too far. Here's what you credit. You copy someone's look exactly, or you're inspired by their look, credit. I learned this recently when using TikTok. I made a really stupid mistake. If you're using someone's sound, find out who the originator of that sound is on TikTok, for example, and credit them. Someone's art, credit them. You've watched someone's video and you're copying that concept, credit them. A makeup technique you can be inspired by, but you don't need to credit. Recently, when did I spoke about this again on the podcast. I had an influx of like comments on TikTok where people were atting me and someone else's content being like, this is Robert Welsh's technique. Here's the deal. Makeup has been around for so long. Somebody has done that technique already. There are no new techniques in makeup. Despite TikTok being like, new technique, no. You think somebody just discovered this technique in their room on TikTok when makeup has been around for thousands and thousands of years? I don't think so. I learned makeup from teachers. I learned makeup from my other makeup artist friends. I learned makeup from those people who then learned that from someone else, who then learned that from someone else, who have from techniques that have developed over years, thousands of years. So to think that somebody has come up with, this is how you lift the face. No. Contouring has been around for years. Fake facelifting techniques has been around for years, centuries. Face shape has been around for centuries. Nothing is new. So next time you go to someone's video, it's like, you should credit this person for this. Just think again what you're asking to credit. Are you asking to credit a technique? No. And if you're like, but this person made it popular. No, they didn't. Someone else did. But if you want to find out who that person is, you have to go back through time, history and history and history. Calm down with crediting. That's all I'm saying. TikTok reviews are unreliable. I agree. I think they're really quick. And there seems to be a trend at the moment of trying amazing products. So a product has to be amazing. You can't try a product and be like, oh, well, that was shit, because it's not going to gain traction. People like to see that shock and that like, oh my God, this is going viral, you know? First of all, it's not going viral. You saying it's going viral makes other TikTok creators go and buy it because they're like, oh, this is a viral product off the moment. I do think they're unreliable. Give me an 8-hour wear test on TikTok. Oh, is that all I have? Okay. Yeah, I guess that was long. I hope you enjoyed that. I hope it gave you some things to think about and me some things to think about as well. Do consider subscribing if you want to. Follow me on Instagram because I do ask questions quite a bit. Follow me on Twitter and TikTok where I communicate very openly with you all. Thank you so much for joining me and I will speak to you all very soon. Bye.